Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sweet Tips here, and this will be part 2 of the silver refining video with the drain cleaner. We'll get this finished up today, get a bar poured, and get that up for sale. Some folks asked me for some twice refined, double refined silver crystal. It will be priced at $63 per ounce, the double refined silver crystal. With free shipping. Also, I had, you've seen it, I had this going on last week. These are my anode bars for the silver cell, and I'm going to get these melted up and prepared and make these today and get these sold. I've just been swamped with all this work that's going on. When I posted part 1 of this video, it took me till midnight or so, and then I didn't get the upload started till about 1-2 o'clock in the morning. Then I stay up and answer email, and the next day I'm just completely wiped out. Now, in my younger days, I could just push through that, but now that I'm an old man, 63 years old, when I get wiped out like that, the next day is just, I'm useless. So I just had to knock off yesterday and go in and get some rest. Just a little bit about the precious metals and their price rise that's taking place right now. It's important for people to understand that these metals have not increased in value. The amount of metal has remained the same. There might be a little bit more of demand for the metal, but what's really happening is the value of the currency used to price the metal has actually decreased in value. And that's what's being reflected in the rising price of groceries, commodities, gold, and silver. No more about that. I don't want to get any controversies or debates or create any problems for people. Let's get to it. Let's finish up this silver bar that we refined with drain cleaner. Here we go. Here's our silver. It's got a bunch of sugar and lye sitting on it. Been sitting there a couple days. That's not a good thing to do here. Shouldn't let this sit like this, but I had to take a break for a while. Before we get to this, what we're gonna do, I've got my silver cell over here, and if you look down in here, I've got some more little trees growing in the back. But over there I got a Lone Ranger growing out of the side of the stainless steel bucket there, and the electrolyte level has gotten low. So what I'm going to do is I've got some electrolyte over here that I dissolved earlier, and we're going to notice that it's got a little bit of silver left in it. It's just a few grams of silver crystal, and I dissolved this in some nitric acid. Now what we're going to do, we're going to filter it here, and I'm going to augment the level as well as the concentration of the silver cell electrolyte. All right, I'm going to filter this right quick. Got it all filtered. I've rinsed it with plenty of water. Down in there you see some silver left over. That's important. We don't want to be pouring a lot of free nitric acid into our silver cell, because we might have a tendency to want to try to dissolve the stainless steel bowl. If we did that, I've heard reports of people having their bowl start to dissolve because of too much nitric acid in the electrolyte. Now what we're going to do, so I'm just going to pour this right on in, and this will do two things. It'll fill the level up. It'll fill the actual physical level, plus it will augment the concentration of the electrolyte. The electrolyte does become depleted as the cell operates. It gets plated out on the cathode as pure silver crystal as the cell operates. So we're adding a little bit more silver nitrate to get our cell more concentrated, back up to snuff. Let me pull this off so you can see in here. All right, there's our silver cell back in operation. Slowly, quietly cranking out pure silver crystal. All right, here we go. We're gonna get set up to rinse the silver off now. I'm just gonna use hot tap water. Multiple rinses of hot tap water here. And what we do is I've got a bucket here that I used the last time I did this to rinse off the lion sugar, and I just pick it up. Let's see here. Just pick up the bucket, or pick up the beaker that has our silver in it, and just pour off the lion sugar on top of the silver. Some of it will go over into the bucket. That's okay, because I'll save this bucket and I'll do this one more time at a later date and recover any of the silver that gets poured over. That stuff coming out of there is a gray color, but it does not look like silver. All right, now what I'm going to do is I've got a pitcher of hot tap water. This is a barroom pitcher like they use to serve beer. Found it at the thrift store for $2. Comes in handy for doing this kind of thing. It's not heat resistant glass though, so it can't be used to do any heating, but it will hold hot tap water so that I can do these rinses. And what I'm going to do is just keep doing these rinses over and over until I've got all of the lion sugar rinsed off of the silver. We cannot add this silver to a fused silica melt dish with lye on it, because lye, sodium hydroxide, will dissolve the fused silica. So I'm just gonna keep doing this over and over until I have all of the lion sugar rinsed off. This is the second pitcher. Put little tick marks on the pitcher to keep track of how many water rinses I'm doing. And what we're going to do now is I've got some pH test strips here. Reach down in here and get a general idea what the pH is. And after 2 rinses, we're looking between 8 and 9 there. So one more pitcher of water ought to do it. That's how much rinse water I've used so far. So we'll just keep doing this until I get a neutral pH. Here I'm preparing a brand new melt dish. I'm going to glaze it with borax, and I begin by heating the melt dish up to drive off any moisture that might still be in the fused silica melt dish. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up along the top rim. I've got some borax over here in a little dish, and I'm just going to take a half a pinch, not very much at all, heat the dish to redness, and then just melt the borax onto that spot. Go around to the next area, do the same thing. I'm starting up at the top and go around the top edge first, and you can kind of see it as you go. The borax will melt and adhere to the dish as we go around. Turns red. You might see a little bit of darkness in there, a little bit of black forming in the borax, but what that is, that's just a little carbon from the gas that we're using. I'm using matte gas, and we're just going to go all the way around this dish and give it a nice glaze. I'm using a pair of tweezers to turn it as I go. I've washed my hands before I started. You don't want any junk in your hands getting in there and contaminate our pure metal. When glazing a melt dish like this, less is more. And you'll watch, I'll put a little pinch down on the table to show you how much I'm adding each time. That little bit right there, less than 1/10 of a gram of borax with each pinch that I add to the melt dish as I do the glazing. And use the flame to smooth it all out. The blackness that appears there is from the carbon and the gas that we're using. If we apply the heat, we can make that blackness carbon go away. We want to keep that flame moving and not concentrate it on one spot because we can scorch the melt dish. Had about 2.5 pitchers of water through here. I'll reach down in here and get some of the rinse water on this strip, and we're looking neutral there. That's looking pretty good. But if you notice, the silver is kind of like in chunks. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure none of the lion's sugar is trapped within any of those big pieces, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it with my blender here. It's been cleaned off. It's got a blade. I'm going to stick it in here and grind my silver up and make sure that none of the pieces are harboring any of that sodium hydroxide. That might cause some powdered silver to form in here. Here we go. Check that water again and see if any of the silver chunks broke apart and rendered forth any sodium hydroxide from within them. I'll be able to tell when I stick this pH strip down in here, and it looks the same. I think we're done rinsing. I think we've got all the lion's sugar rinsed off of our silver now. Now it's on to the next step. All right, here we go. We're gonna pour this rinse water off now that I'm satisfied that all the lion's sugar's been rinsed off. Get a good look at our pure silver metal in here. A little bit of the silver get poured over here. That's okay. I'm going to save the contents of this bucket right here, and I'll recover any of the silver that gets poured out. Won't be very much, less than 1/2 gram. And I'm going to do one more rinse here just to make sure. I want to make sure that this silver is just as clean as we can possibly get it before we go to melt it in the melt dish. It's looking real good. Settling quickly. Looks very clean and pure here. Here is our clean, beautiful gray, light gray colored cement silver from our recovery. What I'm going to do now is I've got a separate container, and I'm going to transfer the silver into this container here, and we're going to put it up on the heat and dry it out. And then once we get it dry, I'm going to transfer the silver into a melt dish melted into a bar. All right, now I'm going to get as much water as I can out of here with a pipette. It's going to be evaporating this to dryness before we do the melt. I could have collected it in a filter paper or poured it sopping wet into the melt dish, but I wanted to do something a little different this time around. Now we're going to put it up on some heat and get this dried out. Let me get rid of this bucket here. And I'm not putting it on direct heat. I'm going to put it in this other container that I have. It has some glass rods in it. Now I'm going to add some tap water to this. What we'll do now is put this up on the heat back here. And we'll let that water heat up and evaporate all the moisture out of our cement silver. I've been drying the silver in a steam bath for about an hour now. I'm going to take the steam bath away, and what we'll do is set the silver now that it's dried out, won't spatter. I'm going to set it directly on the burner and finish it off with the direct heat. This has been on drying now. I think it's bone dry. I've got a cold stainless spoon here. If I stick it down over the top of this silver, if it's still got moisture coming up off of there, it'll condense on this cold spoon, and I don't see any of that. So I think we are 100% bone dry. All right, next step is to take this out and get it into a melt dish and melt it up into our nice pure silver bar. I'm going to get it down off the burner here and set it in this dish. We'll let this cool down. Here's our beautiful light gray pure silver sponge. What I'd like to do now is go back and take a look at these beakers. I've written the weights of the metal we started with, 58.9 plus 59.4 equals 118.3 grams. I'm expecting roughly 90%, maybe a little less, maybe a little more. So we multiply that times 0.9. That should be our yield, 106.4 grams. Divide that by 31.1 grams. That's how many grams are in a troy ounce. Precious metals are weighed in troy ounces. And you can see we're going to have a bar that's about just under 3.5 troy ounces of high purity silver. Okay, let's see how we're going to do this. I need to move this dish out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is transfer the silver sponge out of our dish here that we used to dry it off. It's looking really good, man. That's nice, pure silver sponge. I know I've called it cement silver earlier because it does resemble cement silver. But I'd classify this as a pure silver sponge rather than a cement silver. Hope I get it all in this melt dish all at once. Oh, the joys of filming your refining. Now, one thing about using powder here, putting the powder in a melt dish, is that we're going to have a problem with the flame wanting to blow the silver out of the melt dish. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, be real careful when we apply the flame to the silver here. Alright, there we go. We got it all in there. Little piece fell out, that's okay, we'll get that later. Now let's take this over to the melt table. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to start the torch. I'm going to lean it back out of the way, start it up, and bring it down real slow so we don't blow the silver out of the melt dish. Once it forms a crust on top of the silver, then we won't have to worry about it wanting to, the impingement of the flame wanting to blow it out of the melt dish. Alright, there we go. There we go. As you can see, the bar's got a rough surface on it, and I don't want to let it go like that. What I'm going to do there, is put it back in the crucible, and we're going to melt it one more time, and try this again, see if we can get all them bubbles out of there. This time around, I'm going to use the oxy-acetylene torch to remelt the bar, and then I'm going to set it down and grab the MAP gas to do the pour. Still got a few bubbles on it, but I think that's going to be okay. It's got some nice pour lines. I'm not going to remelt it the third time. It's going to go with it just like this. Here's our nice bar of pure silver. Dazzling. It had a few pinpoints of bubbles where it outgassed a little bit, but it's got some real nice pour lines in it. Let's see what it weighs. We've got 102.9 grams. That's 3.3 troy ounces. Okay, here's both of our bars. This one came out really nice, except for the few little outgassing bubbles there in the middle. But other than that, it's got some really fine pore lines in it. We've got the other one here. This is from the experiment that I did off camera and showed during the intro video. It's 1.4 troy ounces. I didn't know what the purity was on this one because I didn't use a high purity clean melt dish. So I just put 3 tips fine silver on here. It's probably 3/9. 1.4 troy ounces. And there's the weight on that one. And then this is the premier bar that we did. And this one has 3.3 troy ounces, 999 fine silver, 3 tips. 3.3 troy ounces. This will conclude part 2 of the drain cleaner silver refining video. We got us a nice 3.3 troy ounce bar. Very nice. We'll list this on my eBay store and let it go for bids. And then I've got the other bar, the 1.4 troy ounce bar that I did for the intro, the experiment. I didn't film this one. I did one of the forks by itself before I attempted this video to make sure it was going to come out right. And that's what this piece is. So we're going to put both of these on the eBay store. And tomorrow I'm going to list some fine silver crystal and get that listed on my eBay store. Some folks have requested that. And I'm also going to complete the silver cell anode bars and get those listed on my eBay store. Okay, this will conclude part 2 of the drain cleaner silver refining video. Thanks for watching.